A man is locked inside a room at a secret military facility. No visitors, no windows, just four cold walls and complete silence. But instead of sitting still, he picks up a tiny pair of tweezers, not to pick a lock, not to escape, but to scratch drawings directly into the surface of the walls. Hour after hour, he drags that tool across the surface, carving out image after image with whatever strength he has left. His body is failing him. His hands are trembling, but he keeps going. And then, in his final moments, he etches out one last drawing, a detailed, unmistakable image of a city square in Trieste, Italy. Then he collapses, and when military officials finally enter the room, he's already gone. He pushed himself to the very edge of human endurance just to leave that one message behind. But the question that should be eating at you right now is, why Trieste? What is so important about that city? Hold on to that, because everything in this story leads back to that answer. At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Michel, a 13-year-old boy living in Trieste, the very city scratched into that wall. And right from the start, it's clear that life is not exactly going his way. He's awkward, quiet, and almost completely invisible to the world around him, and not in a good way. Not yet. On his morning ride to school, Michel spots a Spider-Man costume displayed in a shop window and immediately stops. There's a masquerade party happening tonight, and this costume might just be the thing that finally changes everything, especially when it comes to Stella, the new girl in his class who he absolutely cannot stop thinking about. The problem? He's so terrified of actually talking to her that instead of walking up and saying hello like a normal person, he's been secretly recording videos of her on his phone. Yeah, not great. And of course, because the universe has no mercy, his teacher catches him mid-recording and confiscates the phone on the spot. Then, as if the morning couldn't possibly get more awkward, the school principal walks into the classroom alongside a police inspector, who just so happens to be Michel's own mother, Giovanna. She's there with serious news. A classmate named Martino has gone missing, and she needs everyone's cooperation. But right before she leaves, she hands Michel the lunch snack he forgot at home, in front of everyone. And the moment the embarrassment hits him, his nose starts bleeding. In a panic, he bolts to the bathroom, where things get dramatically worse. Two boys from his class, Brando and Ivan, are already waiting inside with a paintball gun. They want his money. Michel tries to resist, but they strip him of every coin he has. And just to make it sting even more, Ivan offers him a 10-second head start to run. Michel bolts through the hallways and gets shot square in the back before he even reaches the end of the corridor. He hits the ground. Everyone watching laughs. And then Brando steps on his hand, just to make the humiliation complete. Michel goes home that afternoon with nothing. No pride, no money, no phone. But he refuses to give up on the party entirely. He checks the safe in his room, scrapes together what little he has, and goes back into the city looking for a budget alternative. That's when he stumbles upon a small Chinese shop and meets a boy around his age who works there. When Michel asks about affordable superhero costumes, the boy pulls out something called a Shinshia suit, a hero apparently very famous in his home country. The costume looks like glorified pajamas with an old cape attached. But Michel is out of options. He buys it. Before leaving, he asks what power Shinshia actually has. The boy just smiles and says, "You'll find out for yourself." That night, his mother Giovanna encourages him to go to the party. He puts on the costume and heads out. For a brief, beautiful moment, things actually go right. He runs into Stella at the party, and she genuinely compliments his costume. They talk, they laugh, and Michel feels something he rarely gets to feel, comfortable. But that moment is ripped away within minutes. Brando, who apparently can't stand watching anyone else be happy, decides to escalate things spectacularly. He announces to the entire party that he stole Michel's phone from the principal's office, and then plays the secret recordings of Stella for the whole room. Everyone watches. Stella stares at the screen in disbelief, then turns to Michel and asks if that was really him. Michel can't even form a word. He just turns and tries to run, but Brando and his crew have blocked every exit. Cornered and humiliated in front of his entire class, Michel locks himself inside a bathroom. He looks at his cheap costume in the mirror and shouts, "What powers does Shinshia even have?" The entire city goes dark. When the power finally flickers back on a few seconds later, Michel has already slipped out the bathroom window and is running home as fast as his legs will carry him. The next morning, he wakes up feeling off. His dog Mario is staring at him in a way that sends a chill down his spine. Then Michel steps into the bathroom, looks in the mirror, and there is nothing looking back. His body is completely invisible. He is in full panic mode. When his mother comes into his room, she can't see him at all. He scribbles a note on paper, drops it on the bed, and waits for her to leave. Once Giovanna is gone, Michel does what any curious teenager would do. He goes to school, without clothes. He walks into his classroom. No one flinches. No one reacts. He's a ghost. And just like that, he starts having a little fun with it. He sneaks Ivan's paintball gun and fires it at the blackboard. Ivan gets ejected from class immediately. He destroys Brando's much-hyped tennis final by messing with every single shot until Brando loses spectacularly in front of the whole school. Then he follows Brando into the locker room and throws tennis balls everywhere while speaking in a low, creepy voice until Brando sprints out screaming. Michelle, invisible and laughing, is having the time of his life. But then he pushes his luck too far. He sneaks into the girls' changing room to spy on Stella. And the moment she throws a towel right onto him, the shape of a human body forms under the fabric. She reaches out to grab it. And at that exact second, Michelle becomes visible again. Girls scream. Michelle is nearly expelled. And now every girl in school looks at him like something they'd find under a rock. The stress makes him go invisible again involuntarily. He runs home, where his younger sister Candela spots his disembodied floating face and nearly loses her mind. But once she calms down and Michelle explains everything, she doesn't panic. She gets excited. Because her brother has superpowers. Michelle swears her to secrecy, and they start trying to understand the rules of his ability together. That evening, he's practicing when he hears his mother come home unexpectedly. He strips down and goes invisible just in time. Giovanna, thinking she's alone, calls a friend and says something that stops Michelle cold. She's worried that he might be figuring out the truth, that he was adopted as an infant. Michelle runs. He ends up sitting alone at the harbor, replaying those words in his mind. That's where Stella finds him, or rather, finds an empty swing mysteriously moving on its own. Rather than running, she leans forward and calmly asks if someone is there. Michelle stays hidden but reaches down and draws a small smiling face in the sand. Stella's eyes light up. She challenges him to a swing race, and for the first time in what feels like forever, Michelle just laughs. No pressure, no humiliation, just two people, or one and a half, technically, having fun. Before leaving, Stella tells the empty air that she hopes to see her invisible friend again. That night, inspired, Michelle visits Stella's window and draws the same little smiling face in the glass. She understands immediately and lets him in. She drapes a sheet over him so she can see his outline, and they talk, really talk. But when she reaches toward him to confirm he's real, he gets nervous and becomes visible. He bolts again. Back home, Candela finally says what needs to be said. Michelle needs to tell Stella the truth. So the next night, he goes to the school gym where she's rehearsing alone. But before he can take a single step toward her, an armed man bursts through the door holding a tranquilizer gun and shoots Stella before she can even react. She drops within seconds. The man scoops her up and heads for his van. Now, before I go any further, if you're not subscribed yet and you're watching this far in, you already know this channel delivers. Hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment below. Do you think Michelle is about to save her? Or is this about to go very, very wrong? Michelle doesn't think. He just runs straight at the kidnapper and grabs his arm. The man throws him to the ground. Mario bites the man's arm. The man still gets away. Stella disappears into a van with an armed stranger, and Michelle is left on the pavement watching it drive off. The police come. Giovanna rushes to Michelle. He's physically unharmed, but shaken to his core. He tells her about Stella, but in his mind, he's already planning something much more personal than a police report. But when he goes to grab his Shinshia costume, he discovers his mother washed it. And when he puts it on, nothing. No invisibility. He can't turn. In a rage, he confronts Giovanna and accuses her of destroying his powers. She has no idea what he's talking about. And then Michelle says it, that she's not his real mother. He storms out. Behind him, the glass in a bookcase shatters on its own. At the harbor, he runs into a man in sunglasses who's been appearing on the edges of his life for days now. The man introduces himself as Andre. And then he says the words that shatter everything Michelle thought he knew about himself. He is Michelle's real father. Andre explains everything. Years ago, after a nuclear disaster in Russia, radiation gave certain survivors extraordinary abilities. The government captured them and built a secret program called the Division, run by a Cold War-era general who saw these people not as humans, but as weapons. Andre could read minds and erase memories. But every use of his power cost him his sight, until eventually he went blind. Inside the Division, Andre fell in love with a woman named Elena. She had the power of invisibility. And even though specials weren't supposed to form families, they had a child, Michelle. Knowing the Division would weaponize their son, they ran. Soldiers gave chase. Elena stayed behind to hold them off, using her invisibility. But a sniper noticed a butterfly land on her invisible body, and that single butterfly gave her position away. She was shot. Andre escaped with infant Michelle, crossing Europe until his mind-reading ability led him to Giovanna, a woman who desperately wanted to become a mother. He left Michelle on her doorstep, but the Division never stopped looking. Because Michelle, the child of two specials, could be the most powerful weapon they ever created. Andre gives Michelle a new suit before disappearing into the city. It's black, marked with a Russian symbol, and made from the same material his mother once used. When Michelle puts it on, the power returns immediately. That same night, Dr. Basile, a family friend who's been around the house, reveals his true colors. He's Division. The doors lock. The hunt begins inside Michelle's own home. Basile throws flour across the rooms to track Michelle's invisible footprints. Step by step, he closes in. The chase ends when Basile slams Michelle against the bedroom wall. Michelle kicks free, dives out the window, hits the street, goes invisible, and runs. He finds Ivan on a motorcycle, tells him to drive, now, and Ivan, thinking he's encountered a ghost, floors it anyway. At a warehouse, Michelle reveals himself and tells Ivan everything. Ivan, realizing the scrawny kid he used to bully can turn invisible, does a complete 180 on their relationship. They plan a rescue. The only problem, they have no idea where Stella is being held. But Stella is working on that herself. She's on a ship somewhere, locked in with Martino and Brando, who were also taken. She finds a ceiling vent. Using Brando and Martino as a human ladder, she climbs up and begins navigating the ship with the precision of someone who spent years in gymnastics training. She locates an emergency signal lamp. Remembering the drawing from the harbor, she sketches the same little smiling face onto the lamp and switches it on. A silent message broadcast into the sky. Far away, Michelle sees it and recognizes it immediately. He and Ivan reach the ship and face armed guards at every entrance. Ivan shoots the electrical panel with his paintball gun, shorting out the entire security system. Michelle slips inside, invisible, knocks a guard out with a fire extinguisher, takes his weapon, forces another guard to open the cells, and frees Stella, Martino, and Brando. He locks the guards inside and pulls off his mask. The looks on their faces are priceless. But there's no time for reunions. Stella says there's one more prisoner still on board. Michelle follows her. Straight into a submarine. The lights snap on. They're surrounded. And then Stella raises a gun and points it directly at Michelle. He stares at her, completely thrown. And then the Division's general steps forward from the shadows and delivers the truth like a blade. He controls minds. He's been using Stella as a puppet the entire time. And the Division, the secret program that has been hunting Michelle his whole life, is led by someone who has been searching for him for years. Someone who never actually died on that mission. Elena, his mother, alive. The general offers Michelle a deal. Come willingly, and Stella goes free. Outside, Giovanna has broken onto the ship and is fighting her way through. Andre reaches everyone with his mind and tells them all to run. The self-destruct has been activated. Giovanna, Basile, Andre, Martino and Brando escape just as the explosion tears through the vessel. In the submarine, Michelle is cornered. The general is already loading him toward the Division's next mission. But something awakens in Michelle, something new, something that has nothing to do with invisibility. In pure desperate fury, he reaches out with his mind and starts moving objects. Metal bends. Walls crack. The submarine starts tearing itself apart from the inside. Michelle grabs Stella and they launch to the surface in an emergency capsule. They burst up through the water at the port. Their friends are waiting. Moments later, the police flood the area. Michelle stands in front of the crowd and lets himself be seen. Fully visible, fully himself. And Martino raises his voice and announces that this boy right here is Trieste's new superhero. The Invisible Boy. For the first time in his life, the crowd is cheering for Michelle. But Andre pulls him aside almost immediately. As long as people know his identity, the Division will never stop. Michelle has to let them forget. He walks back to Stella. He tells her softly that they'll meet again. She doesn't understand. He leans in, and they share one quiet, genuine kiss. Then Andre erases it all. The next morning, a city press conference credits Inspector Giovanna with the rescue. Michelle watches from the crowd, proud of the woman who raised him. They finally make peace, not because everything is explained, but because love doesn't always need a complete explanation. At the school celebration for the returned students, Stella doesn't remember any of it. She doesn't remember the swing. She doesn't remember the smiling face in the sand. She doesn't remember being saved. But as she's about to leave, Michelle, for the first time without powers, without a costume, without anything to hide behind, walks straight up to her and asks if she'd like to walk home together. Brando and Ivan try to cut in. Michelle doesn't even slow down. He just looks at Stella and waits. She smiles. She says yes. And back at the Division's base, a soldier reports to Elena that Michelle escaped from the submarine. Elena smiles. Because she knows the truth. Years ago, there were two children. Andre separated them to keep them safe. But the Division found both. The story isn't over. It's just beginning. And that's The Invisible Boy, a story about a kid who had to become invisible before the world could finally see him. If you made it to the end of this video, I just need 30 seconds of your time. Subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't already. We break down movies like this every single week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Drop a comment below and tell me. Would you use invisibility to get revenge on your bullies? Or would you go full superhero? Let's hear it. See you in the next one.